You want to know what's holding you back as a producer? It may not be so obvious. You could think it's your sound selection, your network, your branding, but it could be one of these things. Who am I? Well, my name is Desmond A. I've been producing music for over 12 years now. I have placements on networks like E! Television, Sci-Fi Channel, Bravo, produced for independent recording artists, mixed albums. I've done a little bit of everything in my experience. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 essential skills that every producer needs to know this year. Make sure you stay tuned to the very end of this video because this is not just information you're going to find anywhere. So take some notes and make sure you implement some of the information I'm going to give you here today. You ready? Let's get into it. Number 1 is to remember that your beat isn't the final song. That's right, one habit that I hear from some of the producers who submit their beats on my live beat review show, The Heat Check, which you can of course check out down below in the description. Submit your beats, I'll be glad to give you my feedback. And one thing is overcrowding the beat, and the reason for that is a lot of producers are cooking up alone and just putting themselves in the position of trying to make the best beat possible without realizing that the beat is just one part of the composition and one piece in the chain of command to get us to the final song. So whenever you're cooking up beats and you feel like you might have a little bit too much going on, make sure you sing to the beat, rap to the beat out loud, and doing so is going to help to point out some of the flaws or some of the issues going on in your track. Do you have too many synths going on, too many strings going on? Once you strip down everything and take out some of those sounds, you're going to notice that you need a lot less sounds to actually get a fire beat going. And that's one of the reasons why, if you guys see some of those producer interviews, some producers say, hey, this artist selected this beat and I didn't expect them to do so, and I kind of wasn't even done. That's because the beat has space. The artist needed to play their role in the chain of command to get to the final song, and that's them actually adding their voice in the lyrics to the beat to actually create a great song itself. And another thing to keep in mind whenever you're singing or rapping over your beat, in order to see if it's overfilled or not, is going to help you arrange the beat itself. So if you feel like you're stuck in that 8-bar loop prison, or you feel like you just have one long beat with not too much variation, you kind of wondering, how can I create highs and lows without my beats being too empty? I want people to feel what I'm doing, but I don't want to have too much, but I don't want to have too little going on. Singing or rapping over your beat out loud is going to help you space, mute certain things, do certain drops, so that way you know how to structure the beat so it's appealing to the recording artist and it also sounds good on its own. All right, and the second skill that you need to have is to recognize that you can't do it alone. That's right, whether you get feedback from a recording artist in the studio, a friend, someone who sings or raps, whenever you get feedback from recording artists, this is going to help you tailor make your beats for different types of artists. So what I mean by that is, if you start to notice a pattern of feedback that you get from recording artists, like maybe they say, hey man, the beat is good, but I can't find the space to really jump in. Like, I like the beat, but it just sounds done. That that's something that you need to change. So it may not be feedback from one recording artist themselves, but if you hear things over and over again, like the drums could be better, or what's going on with the bass, or the beat hurts my ears for some reason, that type of feedback you should take into mind and then start to refine your production process, so that way they can help you create the mistakes, because ultimately the beat is going to go to the recording artist themselves. Another part about not doing it alone is to learn basic mixing skills from engineers. So I always say, if you guys have the chance to book some local studio time at a studio, or if you travel for friends, family, whatever, just pull up to a studio, try to get an hour or so, or whatever you can get, and just pick the brains of some of the engineers. Just pull up with some beats, say, hey, I want to learn how to mix my beats better, and then they can give you some game. They can even show you different tools that you may not have used in the past, and they can answer a lot of questions while you're in that studio session. So producers, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. I know a lot of you guys want to get a lot of free stuff here and there online and try to skip steps and do it yourself, but there's nothing like sitting next to someone who's a master of the craft, someone who's really good at what they're doing, and they could break down some high level concepts to make them understandable, and that way you can implement that in your beat mixing process itself. It's something that I've done and it's made me very, very strong as a producer. So make sure you guys keep that in mind as well. In addition to that, as far as not doing it alone, is to collaborate with other producers. So, sometimes as producers, we can get into our comfort zones. We have our certain kits that we really like. We have our VSTs that we really like. And sometimes we could just box ourselves in with a lot of routine. But when you collaborate with other producers, you can take a listen to, how they would approach certain beats. If they're doing a trap beat, a drill beat, maybe they're using different bass patches and different sounds and effects that you normally wouldn't do. Fortunately with the modern DAWs, it's really easy to collaborate. You can just send files over to the other person, send it back. Maybe you could send, collaborate with FL Studio project files, whatever you use. These days is super easy. Please collaborate with other producers because each time you collaborate, you're just going to pick up a different nugget. All right. And number 3 is to work to understand sound. What I mean by working to understand sound, I mean understand different frequency ranges. What's the sub frequency sound like? And what does the mid range sound like? What do these different areas sound like on different listening devices, whether it's an iPhone speaker, headphones, your TV, good professional studio monitors. Just understanding different frequency ranges are going to help you to correct certain things more easily. So, not to just keep boosting and boosting and boosting sounds to try to make things sound better. You understand that sometimes you need to take out certain parts of one sound to make another sound shine and cut through better. So I recommend just spending some time with your EQ, even possibly just downloading one of the free ear training apps. If I can find one of those, I'll definitely link them in the description, and just do those different exercises. Understand what a cut sounds like, what a boost sounds like, so that way you're not chasing your tail when it comes time to improve your sounds and really get a polished beat mix. We're not in the final mixing stages as far as beat makers and things like that, but you still want to know how to make some changes, make some tweaks to have the best sounding beat possible. All right. And number 4 is to learn how to record. Guys, this is super important, especially as AI is getting better and better. One thing AI can never replace is the real life experience of being in the studio and recording real human beings face to face. It's a little secret, guys. Sometimes artists actually want to spend time with you recording. They may not even really consciously have a goal on releasing a final project. Sometimes people just want to use the studio as an escape, just to have fun, be creative, and spend time with you. Of course, you need to make sure, once you get to the point that you're pretty good, pretty decent, make sure that you're actually charging for studio time so you guys aren't just kicking it. But that's just a little secret that some of you guys may not know. Now, with that being said, one goal with that is once you learn how to record, you'll learn how to make decent demos. So if a recording artist has an idea that's going on in their head, you know how to make beats. Now all you got to do is get a microphone, a decent compressor, a decent audio interface, and headphones, and you're pretty much good to go. Once you do that, you'll become much more valuable than a producer who just can crank out fire beats over and over again. That's definitely a good skill to have, but being able to help an artist get an idea out in addition to that is just going to make you a much stronger producer. You don't have to be a full-blown mixing engineer and know how to do all this, super technical stuff, but if you can at least get a strong demo going, you know how to get the vocals mixed right, you know how to put effects and do different drops and really get the energy and emotions out, man, that's going to take you a really long way. At that point, the recording artist can have their demos done, have it in their hard drive, and whenever they're ready, they can go ahead and send it off to a professional mix engineer. They can go ahead and do their thing, and bam, that's a nice little setup you got there going. You can be efficient, creative, and you can save yourself some money from going to major recording studios. So always keep that in mind, guys. Learning how to record goes a long way. And number 5, communication skills. That's right, guys. Communication goes super far, man. A lot of conflicts in the music game could be resolved with the communication, conversation, everyone talking with each other with cool heads. Starting with communicating with the written word, whenever you're dealing with different recording artists, you go into different studios, you're meeting different people, it's always good to follow up via email. Hey, it was nice to meet you, or even possibly DMs. It's nice to meet you. You can check out my stuff here. Let's see if we can make something happen. Sometimes as creatives, we can be scatterbrained, we can be all over the place and not really know how to communicate and stay in contact with people. On top of that, communication is also a great way to, make yourself stand out as a producer when it comes to the beat selling aspect. A lot of producers who sell beats kind of look at artists as just individual transactions as opposed to real human beings who have real projects going on and have real life going on. So, don't be too proud to reach out. Hey, what kind of projects you got going on? I got these new beats. Check them out. How you been? How's the new project coming? If you need anything, hit me up. Make that be a long-term strategy as opposed to just, hey, check out my beats. Hey, check out my beats. Hey, check out my beats. As producers, we don't like it when artists just throw their project in our face and we didn't really ask for it. It could just seem like, shameless soliciting. And it's the same thing that's going to hold true for producers. Be a real person, reach out to the artist, share your music, and if they like it, they're going to rock out with it. And another aspect of communication is going to be customer service skills. That's right. If something goes wrong, there's some type of issue, and recording artist needs like some type of file or email or session, then you're going to need to actually follow up and communicate with them. Sometimes artists recognize that producers just view them as transactions. You can't explain anything to them. You kind of will communicate as if you're irritated that they're just asking any type of question, but they're giving you money or they're anticipating giving you money. And if your communication is poor prior to them giving you money, then they can assume that it's going to be poor after communication. So some of you guys I see kind of getting hyped up on Instagram because artists are asking you kind of obvious questions, but a lot of times that's just the artist wanting to make sure that you're a real person and that you're actually going to communicate with them clearly, empathetically, and help them out with any type of issue that may happen. It happened to me recently. I sold a beat. Artist had I had a corrupted file in one of my track outs, and he hit me up. We were already communicating. I got the file, bam, sent it right over to him. So he had the trust. He didn't panic after the file was corrupted. He already knew, hey, Desmond, go ahead and, send me the right file. This one isn't right. So no harm, no foul. That's how you build a nice, strong reputation so people actually seek you out as a producer. So these aren't obvious things that I see a lot on YouTube as far as advice, but I want to give you some real game so you can, grow as a producer. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. My name is Desmond A, and I'll be back with more great videos. Peace. Wait, before you go, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything you need to level up your music production. Once again, go to DesmondASounds.com or click the link in the description. Go there now and totally transform your music production.